Have you had a relationship with your father?
Not too much. My parents divorced when I was 2. I was born in Texas, and then we went to OKC, or Norman to be exact. And yeah, bro. Yeah, we don't really have too big of a relationship. Like he's battled alcoholism a lot. Yeah, so not too much, but I have talked to him a little bit recently. It's gone back and forth with just my outlook on that, like grew up with a lot of anger, a lot of kind of unresolved feelings of why things happen, like not a lot of explanations, but just, I guess you could fast forward it. So yeah, no, not really him in the picture, but my stepdad came through and helped out a lot, but just as of now, 31, it's like unforgiveness is like we hold more of the poison and pain without forgiving others, easier said than done, but I've been learning that more. So I try to talk to him here and there and just have love for him no matter what,
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's like, I don't know if I told you about my situation with my dad. My dad left when I was very young, like 13, and shortly after that, like I went on this path of like just drugs and gangs, crime, prison.
This was at 13?
Yeah. So just went on this path. So basically 13 to 18 was just one thing after another. Drugs, a gang, became a gang member, saw my best friend commit suicide in front of me when I was 16, and then have all that unresolved, never healed, never saw a therapist, just carried that, and it made me really like suicidal and violent. So I like did a bunch of armed robberies, bank robberies, and I ended up getting caught and going to prison. By 18 I got arrested. 19 I'm on my way to prison with a 20-year prison sentence, and then just hated my father because I blamed a lot of why I was the way I was because of him leaving. And in a sense, it kind of was the trigger because, it kind of broke the family apart when my dad left. My mom, me, my sister, everything just went crazy. It went out of whack. And so I carried that, like their pain, their struggle, mine, so for a long time until I was in solitary. And when I had my transformation, I forgave him. And it was like, I thought about it. I was like, if I don't want anybody to remember me for who I was and give me a fresh start, like how can I not do that for him?
Yeah.
So I made a commitment, to like get out and do that. And I've been out like 3.5 years now and forgave him. Now like he's just a completely different person. He's transformed in his own way.
Yeah.
And it's been good. And like I feel so grateful that I like got to that point where I could forgive him, because if I would have carried that, I would have never known who the man he is now. And now I know, like, okay, we're good. Like we've made peace with each other. We've forgiven each other. And so I tell people, man, it's not it doesn't always work out that way, because both people have to be willing, right? It's like I couldn't be just the one going like, hey, I forgive you, let's try to rebuild, and he's like still an asshole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't have worked.
Did you have any of that, or was it, you kind of went to him and he was fully like, wow? Yeah,
he was just like, he just says, man, I'm proud of you. And he still says that. And that's like all I ever wanted to hear.
That's amazing, bro.
To hear that from him was like, instead of just like remembering me for this criminal and all that. And
I mean, 13-year-old Carlos, that's what you wanted to hear.
Yeah.
Like that's all you wanted to hear.
Yeah.
And I feel you on that.
So
I feel like we just go on autopilot from anger, and especially as a kid and no one to be around to like have a real heart-to-heart talk. We're just like going crazy. Like substancing and numbing every single thought of just like wanting love from one individual or something.
You started skateboarding when you were how old?
8. Respect, by the way. I'm so glad you and your
thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. I really appreciate that. And I'm hoping through that in some way somebody hears that and says, maybe they'll give their whoever, it may not be a dad, but somebody that hurt them in the past, a shot to see where they're at.
Yeah.
Because you never know. People can change.
Do you have any tattoos? Are you going to get any removed? Or
Yeah, I want to get, I got two tattoos on my back arms. And the story behind the tattoos, it was more like, it was like my beginning stages, being really involved into the hood, you know, being really like getting my name out there. And I thought it was like, okay, it's like it comes with the territory. So after I got the tattoos, I was like, all right, I'm one of the fellas. But as I started really venturing into the lifestyle, I started like realizing how much dangerous they are, because you can be identified without even knowing someone knows who you are. So quick story, ran into a guy, saw his tattoos, and they became a hindrance to his existence at that moment, because unfortunately we attacked him. Right. So after that, I'm like, man, I don't want to get no more tattoos, because I could like put a shirt on. Because remember back in the day, we used to wear baggy shirts.
Yeah.
So I could have a baggy shirt on and I can cover my back arms, right? But now our shirts are kind of like fitted. And like when I be at the drive-thru and I be getting my food, I be like this. I be conscious of that. And I put my arm back down. I look back like, oh man, who saw me? You know what I mean? So
yeah. Because if the wrong person sees that, they don't care that you're a different man. They don't care you're not part of that. Yeah. You're just another target for them.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So like I always looked at tattoos as a security breach. That's why when I was in prison, I never got none. Because I'm like, man, I don't want to get caught slipping, you know?
That's a unique way to look at it, a security breach. Because it is though, because you expose your hand, you ain't, no words have to transpire. You just see it. Got one. Yeah, and it's like now you better hope you was prepared for whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How do you feel about like the possibility of having like tattoo removal, like tattoo away for people in prison to utilize before they get out? Like how you feel about that, and how, if any, would that have impacted you before you got out?
I think we evolving as like a culture of even gang culture, right? So like people that was really involved is starting to wake up like, man, I wasted my life. So a lot of people that got tats on their face and visibly, you know, I talk to them, they like, man, I want to get this shit removed. I got some friends, you know, they got tats on their face, you know, when they go out, they put makeup on. So it's like, you know, that's not who you are right now. So back in the day, that's who you were. So you were gladly, you know, glorifying it, but now you evolve. So I think, you know, this tool is perfect for our world, because, you know, people are looking to turn the leaf and turn their life around. Nobody wants to be held to who they used to be. People want to be recognized for who they've grown to be, you know?
Yeah. Even in the corporate world.
Right.
You know, you ain't got to be physical danger, but just in the corporate world, you want to be able to move through any space without doors being shut on you before they even get a chance to know you.
Absolutely.
Right? So once again, it's a way of controlling your narrative and how people perceive you. So to get it before you get out of prison, like, that's a genius move. That's a chess move in life.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So I definitely encourage it if that's no longer you and you don't want to be perceived that way. Right. Because now you understand, back when we was ignorant, immature, and lacking so much information about life, it was like, so what? Right. I'm in this to crash. Right. So, you know, I'm going to get these tattoos. But I'm glad I got my new tattoos later on before I got out of prison. You know, because if I would have got them when I was younger in prison, I would have got a gang of just crash dummy shit, you know? Right. So the ones I got now, it's like that's where my mindset is at now. You know, the Monopoly man, the Lamborghini stamp, and all that shit. Think like act like a boss, think like a king. Like all that shit is like who I am now.
It's your brand.
So definitely.
Yeah. So for me, I think it's important that it go in prison, because I just think about the many people that I came across that had put that lifestyle behind them, and like they was transitioning. I think it would have helped them, or it could have completed their transition. Because once you denounce your gang, that's a huge step. Now getting it removed, then I believe, because some people go back and forth. We all seen people that went in there and they all don't bang, then different yard, different set of, you know, they back banging. But I think once a person denounce it and take the step to get it removed, I don't think it's no going back there. So I think it's set in stone. So it'll help people to complete their transition in prison. Because, you know, a lot of them, when I get out, I'm going to get this removed. Like, if it's in prison, you can start now. Like, we all understand that the change start in prison. Like most people that say they gonna get out and start and change, we like, yeah, bro, kind of not likely. So
it's too much temptation
right?
and distraction.
So for if we seen plenty of people that changed in there, and I think that would be a stepping stone towards their change to having in prison, because it's like, okay, people wake up one morning like, you know what, I'm tired of looking at this, and you know, if it's a something that they go fill out and sign up for to get it removed, I think that encourage them to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Like how a mother can just see the goodness within you, even like when society may deem you as a bad person, or you know that you've been condemned, or you know that you need to be imprisoned. Even a mother could be there, and see like, no, that's not he who he is. He just made some bad choices.
Exactly.
It was influenced in a bad way, and to ride that out with you is incredible. And I know that for the rest of your life, you're just gonna appreciate her a lot more.
Yeah, for sure. Because you know, it's just, I met dudes who mothers turned their back on them up in there. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't there for them at all.
Exactly.
So yeah, exactly. You
That's
know, you
amazing.
Appreciate that type of thing, man. Because we need that support up in there, man. You know what I'm saying?
And those are the true heroes. Yeah, honestly, sure. I mean, people that will be with you through thick and thin, through all that.
Yeah, because see, what they don't understand is when you have that support, it makes you want to do right up in there. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to keep crashing out. You got your girl trying to convince you, your mom, your kids trying you in a hole, or you on LOP. You know what I'm saying? You got to a fight. You don't want to keep doing that when you got that support. You know what I'm saying? Versus when you don't got no support, it's like you ain't got nothing. You ain't got a reason to want to keep doing good in here. When you got that support, you want to get there. You know, you're going to visit, so you see your little cousins or your family. It makes you want to become better. And you know. Do good up in there. So that's what having that support did for me. It made me want to stay on that right path. Like, okay, I'm just here temporary. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here permanently. So let me educate myself. You know what I'm saying? Let me start finding other ways that's going to keep me out of jail. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Therefore, I started to educate myself and start thinking outside that box that they had me boxed in.
And how important is education when you're trying to transform your life?
Man, education is very important, man, because you have to know what you're going to, you have to understand the terminology of whatever field you're going to get into, so that's why education is very important, because you can't go in the medical field just talking basic English, man. It's a whole nother language. So that's why, I believe education is very important.
You're true. Like, that's why when I went to business school, it was really, to learn the language of business, to have an organization hold me accountable to get things done, to create my business plan, to do my minimal viable product, to create the framework of what is required for a business. But I knew business. I knew I wanted to start one. I studied a lot on my own, but it's different when you are a part of like an institution of learning. Yeah. So I get what you're saying. So I guess it kind of goes back to the question. It's kind of a question out there too, is like, would you encourage kids to go to college or not?
Of course. I've always encouraged them. Hey, I'm encouraging my daughter to go to college. You know what I'm saying? Because even if you don't get out and pursue whatever degree you have, at least you still have it to fall back on. You know what I'm saying? Versus the only thing you got is a high school diploma to fall back on, Yeah.
So you it's amazing, man. You with your daughter now. She's a teenager, 2 weeks out. What's some of the stuff you've all been doing and learning from each other?
Man, the first day, when I came home, so the next day she had to track me. She does track and field right now. So I went to her track meet, got to support her, got to see her win her little races. She made sure she came in first place, all the races for me. Yeah. Then that Saturday we went to Six Flags for her birthday. Nice. So, we got to go hang at Six Flags. I got to meet her little friends and, just watching they little teenagers interact with each other. Yeah. Making me feel old.
So you went to Six Flags?
Yeah.
Did you get on the rides?
Nah, I ain't get to get on the rides. I don't know if I was ready for that yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, that's you went big when you got out.
Yeah, I can't do it just yet. I'm gonna gotta work on that.
I know that's like the worst thing, right? Like you gotta get out and you get on the ride and something happens. And you like this guy did.
Anxiety kick in.
Yeah, anxiety kick in. You have smart move, man. But that's incredible that you can now be here. It's probably some of the most important times of her life.
Yeah, sorry, for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, like, do you feel like she has is it hard for you two to connect in right now, being that you were separated for so long, or just kind of?
Well, not really, because I call it the I put in 10 times the effort while I was in there, you know. So I wrote a lot, I called, I sent money, I sent birthday cards, you know what I'm saying? Like I did those things, you know, to where we end up building like a verbal bond.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? She had the GTL app on her phone. She would text me, send me videos and pictures and things like that. I video chat her. So we already had the verbal bond. So now we're working on building that physical bond together. You know, so we text and talk every day and stuff like that.
Nice.
Yeah, so you know, just already having that from being a judge made it a little bit more. It wasn't too awkward when I came home. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She was just as shocked and happy to see me as I was to see her.
Yeah. Challenges are not roadblocks. They are opportunities to prove to yourself how strong, resilient, and capable you truly are. Adaku, what does that mean to you?
What that means to me is that I found that the biggest growth spurts I've had in myself have come on the other side of pain. And I've learned to look at pain differently, because sometimes we don't know what we're capable of until we have no choice but to step into that version of us. So that's kind of what resonates with me when I hear that quote. And I think I always say there was a moment where I had some conflict with my mum, and as I was starting to heal from my journey, I said to her that I appreciate everything that I went through, because I'd like the person I am now, and I wouldn't be that person had it not been for the things I had to overcome. So I think it's a beautiful quote to reflect that challenges and situations that we go through don't always have to hold us down and break us.
Yeah, that's beautiful, because it's like I've said the same thing to people. Like I actually said it to somebody the other day, and they didn't understand it, and they were crying when I said, because they care about me, I said, like going to prison for 17 years is one of the greatest things that ever happened to me. And I truly believe that. And other people think I'm like crazy for that, but I know what happened during that, and I know who I am now. And so you're right, like the things we go through, if we choose to look at them that way, it can be the greatest things and not the worst things. You know, and so how do you get to that point in your life where you look at life like that now, or have you always been that way?
I don't know whether there was a defining moment or whether it was, I kind of looked back in hindsight and was like, I truly believe that saying that everything happens for a reason, because if this didn't happen, then this wouldn't have been possible. And if this didn't happen, then this wouldn't be possible. Like, I can't remember when in my life that happened, but my mom introduced me to meditation at the age of 8. So I've always had a spiritual foundation. And whenever we'd go to her with questions, she'd always say, turn within. So from a young age, I kind of learned to have a relationship with myself, and she would always say that everything that I see is an illusion, and I have the power to create whatever I want. So if that's the case, then what I'm going through doesn't necessarily need to be the end or be all. I can choose what I create from what I'm going through. So I think there's on some level there's been an undercurrent of that spiritual practice, that everything happens for a reason, and then with time and like where I am now, and I'm sure you must feel the same way, there's no way that my reality should be what it is considering where I've come from. Right. And if that's the case, then there's no way that I can't look back in everything and understand that it was all kind of part of the process for me to become who I needed to be to do what I'm doing. You know?
Exactly. And how was your relationship with your mom growing up, aside from her teaching you about meditation, which is amazing? I always say if I had kids, I'd teach them that. And, you know, it was them before they even go to school.
So it's interesting because we were close when I was little, and then I was born in Nigeria and I moved to the UK when I was 6 years old. And we went from living a very privileged, well-off background to being broke. And broke in the sense of there was no food for 3 to 5 days. Like, we'd open the cupboards, there's literally not even condiments. There's nothing. There was no electricity for months. There was no gas for months, and London's cold. So I remember doing my homework around candlelight with our coats on inside, you know? And so when that started happening, being the eldest girl, second eldest of 7 children, I took it upon myself that I needed to help my mum, and it's not fair that my mum's going through all of this. And I think that's kind of where my journey started. And when I got into my teens and I went to university, I was working 40 hours a week to send money home, and I had friends whose parents were giving them money to be at uni. So that's when I started to be like, maybe mom's not managing her money properly. And when I would start challenging her, then we started butting heads, because she was like, I'm the child, how dare I confront her? So our relationship started to kind of twist then, where I kind of built up resentment for writing off my childhood to help raise my siblings and help her, and I didn't feel like she was being as responsible. But in hindsight, I can see she was probably clinically depressed, and one of her coping mechanisms was spending. So I have a little bit more compassion now.
What point in your life did you face your biggest battle, and how were you able to get through that?
So, over the 40 years of my life, I struggle with a lot of different battles, addiction, identity, like going back to that, struggling with the identity part of things, struggling with feeling comfortable with who I was, struggling with understanding who I wanted to be. Right. And that's probably been like the biggest consistent struggle of my life is like comfort with who I am and like self-identity. Because I think self-identity is way more important than the identity that we adopt or that we're given from outside influences. And it's the hardest thing for us to wrap our heads around. And for me, that was the biggest thing, right? So growing up and like being that awkward kid that like didn't really have a ton of friends, was super different from everybody. But like naturally wanting those friends, right? Like naturally wanting that circle of people. It was hard, man. So it's like I would create this identity for myself that was like, oh yeah, I'll fit in with this group or I'll fit in with these people. And then it's not real, right? So like it fades away. And then when it fades away, it's like the sheets being pulled back, and then the truth comes out, right? And it's like, wait, I don't fit here. You guys aren't my people. You guys, this isn't my situation. And then that's where the addiction part comes in, right? Because it's like, now I'm in an uncomfortable situation. What do? Well, I burn it to the ground, right? So it's like, I go to, acting like an asshole, which is still probably one of my biggest battles. So I turned to acting like an asshole, and then with chemicals, dry and liquid, it gave me a reason, right? It was like, oh no, that was the whatever substance it was that caused me to be an asshole. And the reality is, it's like, no, it was just an asshole.
When you've created an identity, and I know from my own life as well, I had an identity that I created as a gang member, a criminal, a drug addict, all these things. And I embraced that identity, and I adopted the identity from others. I learned that from 100%. Others, right? And at a young age, and then went to prison, continued to build that identity, and then finally got to a point where I took control of my life and got back in touch with my true identity,
right?
Carlos, right? And I remember back in the day, I would fight somebody if they called me that. It's so crazy how detached I was from that.
Right.
So for you, in your young, in this young identity that you created, like how deep were you enmeshed in that, and like where did it lead you?
Yeah, man. I was a chameleon, right? So like my identity would change a lot. I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing, but I've been able to be successful at whatever identity I adopted, right? So like there was a period of my life where like I worked retail and I was involved in the skate industry, the surf industry, the snowboard industry. And, this was my late teens, and it's like I was good at it.
Yeah.
But it's like, I wasn't that great of a skateboarder, right? But it's like, you wouldn't have known that based off of the image that I portrayed. And so the work to get away from all of these adopted things, right? Like moving later on and like going to prison and being really mad, right? I'm like, bitter and angry at everybody and everything and at the system, like that didn't help.
Yeah.
Right. Because like when I went to prison the second time, I adopted all sorts of identities that when I look back now, I'm like, man, I don't know if I regret that because it was an opportunity for me to learn, but I wouldn't redo it.
You went to prison and then you went back to prison.
Yeah.
That's a great thing to discuss because I've never discussed that before, but I understand it, but many people don't.
Yeah.